Okay, so we're gonna get started with Ozuna's graduation video by going over his commands first. So we'll start with loose leash walking. Whenever you take Ozuna for a walk, you wanna have him in the heel position for most of the walk. Heel is on your left-hand side with a loose leash. That way he's not pulling into the leash. We'll go over how to fix him and how to reward him, of course, but heel means walk next to me. Free is the release command, so if you want him to go sniff or he can walk around a little bit more instead of just staying at your side, free is the command to let him go sniff, go potty, walk in front, that's fine, but heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. Next is sit. Sit means stay until you're told free, so if you're on a walk and you stop to tie your shoe or whatever, he needs to sit. Or at all doors, have him sit, you sit as you need to as a form of a stay, and of course he has to wait until you say free before he can get up from the sit stay. If he breaks any of these commands, we're going to go over how to correct that here in just a second. Down is lay down and stay. So if he jumps on you, we're just going to say no and correct him instead of saying down, because down means lay down and stay. So you'll see that in the video where he needs to lay down all the way and wait until we tell him free. We don't free from a distance, we always go back to him, good down, and then release him. Same thing with place. So place is a boundary stay on an elevated bed. This will come in handy when people come over or when you're trying to eat and you don't want Ozuna begging at the table. You can put him on place. It is a boundary stay. It's a longer duration stay, so like sit stays a few minutes, down stays like 15 to 20 minutes, and then play stay can be as long as you want it to be, and rewarding of course when he does the right behavior. Then we have come when called, which means come from point A to point B. It doesn't mean come walk with me, that's heel. It means come from wherever you're sniffing, come to me, get your treat, all that fun stuff. And then leave it, don't get that off of the ground. So if you drop something, tell him leave it so he doesn't go and try and eat it. So what we want to do is reward behaviors to increase the rate of those behaviors. So when Ozuna does a good job, you want to reward him with praise, petting, and treats. I recommend for the first couple weeks that he's home, you keep treats nearby. That way you can reinforce the behavior you want. So the transition from training here to training in the home is a little bit more smooth sailing. And then we're going to correct unwanted behavior so we can follow through with all of our commands. So if Ozuna does something that we don't like or he doesn't listen to a command, we're going to follow through with a correction, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So we have his remote collar here. I'm just going to show you a few features, and the rest of the features are going to be at the end. So to turn on the collar, we are going to touch the two magnets. So on the collar itself, you'll see a red magnet right here, and on the remote, you see a matching red magnet. We're going to touch the two together, and that's going to turn the remote collar on. Now to turn the remote on, there's a button in the back, the on-off button. We're going to push and hold that, and that will turn the collar on. Then we are going to use the black S button to follow through with all of our commands. So Ozuna's at level 30 out of 100. That's not crazy high, it's just on the higher side of the average. You know, the average is usually 20 to 25, but 30 is still fine. It's just enough to correct the unwanted behavior without causing too much discomfort. So if Ozuna is doing something incorrect, we'll tell him no, and then we press the level 30, or the black S button. So if we're taking him on a walk and he starts to try and walk ahead of us, we would tell him no, push the black S button. I can feel that, it's a little uncomfortable, but it's not unbearable. Same thing with all of his commands. Come when called. Let's say you are practicing and he decided that this patch of grass is really interesting and he doesn't want to leave it. You would say no, push the button, and then tell him to do the command again. So it's always in that order. You mark the incorrect behavior with the verbal no, you follow through with the correction, then you repeat the command so he understands what to do right to possibly earn a treat this time. So that's how you're going to follow through and stay consistent. We also have his prong collar. So this is going to help on walks. Just because the first couple weeks everything should be on leash until you've built that foundation of reward history and training everywhere, then you can start to explore off leash once you've trained in that area before. And obviously don't do anything around cars or any traffic. Always have them on a leash, you know, when you take them on a walk, on the sidewalk and everything. But how to use this, you'll take it off and then you'll pinch this one back in. The leash will attach to this one, which looks like a D, so like a little D ring. And what you'll do is you'll attach the leash here, and if you need to, like for example, you're on a walk and he starts to creep forward, you tell him no, pop the leash. It is a quick tug and release. It should never be like this. It should always be loose and then a quick pop and release when needed. So for example, if you're in a new environment, you take him somewhere new and he's a little distracted, he might need a little leash guidance to help him in the beginning. In the house, I recommend having the leash on for the first couple of days while he's getting used to the training there. And then when Chulo goes home, definitely have them both on a leash so you can help them understand that now they have to train together too, not just play all the time. So that's his prong collar for walking. And that's his remote collar. So we're going to go over all of this at the end of the video, that way you can go in more detail. But the main takeaways are: stay consistent, reward behaviors you like to increase the rate of those behaviors, use the training tools to correct unwanted behaviors to decrease the rate. If you're consistent and you follow through with everything, you may not need this a whole lot in the future. It's just something to have as a backup if you start to need it. The goal is to fade away from the leash and have, you know, that those reliable commands with Ozuna without having the leash on. But for right now, we need to transition with the leash so it's easier for him. And of course, have fun and stay consistent. Now we're going to show you Ozuna's commands.
You guys have a good one.
Down. Good boy. Down. 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 You're fine. Good, down. Down. Good, down. Good, down. Down. Free? Good job. Sit. Sit. Free. Good job. Leave it. Good boy. Okay. Okay. Good job. Leave it. Good boy. Okay. Okay. Good job. Good boy. Place. Good boy. Place. Good boy. Place. Good boy. Place.
Flying off the floor at Giant Furniture Store. She needs more sales associates before shoppers take their seats elsewhere. Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. InstaMet instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job.
Good place.
Indeed.com credit and get $75 for your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Place. Good job. Good place. Good boy. Good place. Free. Good job. Good job. Okay, so let's dive into the remote collar a little bit more. So it is turned on. How to turn the collar off? It's the same way. You will tap the 2 red dots to turn the collar off. Then you will push and hold the on-off button to turn the remote off. So He can wear this remote or this collar 10 to 12 hours a day. I recommend he puts it on first thing in the morning and he wears it all day, even if you're not planning on using it a whole lot that day for whatever reason you're really busy. This will try and prevent collar savvy. We don't want Ozuna to be collar savvy because that means he'll only listen when he's wearing the collar. So we want to try and minimize that by having him wear it every day so he kind of forgets it's there. And so we can stay consistent with all of our commands. So we'll turn the collar on again, so we'll touch these two, we'll push the on-off button, and we'll go over all the features. So the black S button we know is level 30. The red S button is a boost feature. This will actually increase the level by 30. So I have not needed this for Ozuna, but if you get in a situation where level 30 isn't enough and he puts himself in a dangerous position, I would use level 60. For example, let's say you're practicing recall and he starts going towards the road and he's not listening, and you've said come and you've corrected him with level 30 and it's not working, use level 60. What happens is if his adrenaline's pumping, he might be able to tune out level 30, but hopefully level 60 is a big enough jolt to get his attention back to us. That way he doesn't put himself in a dangerous position. So that is the red S button, red for emergencies only. We have the T button over here. It's vibrate. You can use this as a warning. I wouldn't recommend it in the beginning, but maybe down the line when Ozuna's doing really well and he just makes a little mistake, maybe warn him a little bit. The more consistent you are with the remote collar, the faster you can possibly fade it out. This depends on how consistent we are and Ozuna's personality. If he's more of a people pleaser, which I think he kind of is, then you can possibly fade this out faster. If not, if he's more strong-willed or strong-headed, then we're going to need this to stay consistent. On the back, the on-off button is also a flashlight. So if you want to have Ozuna out at night, you just tap this. Instead of pushing and holding it to turn the remote off, just tap the button and it activates the flashlight on his collar. So when you put the collar on, make sure the flashlight is facing out. That way you can see it, because if it's towards his shoulder, you won't be able to see the flashlight very well. He's at level 30 right now, but that might change in the future. So how to adjust the level? We are going to unlock it. So we're going to push down on this dial right here, push down and hold it until the 1D is flashing. Once the 1D is flashing, we can turn it up or down. So we can turn the level down if 30 is too much, or if 30 is not enough, we can turn it up. Once we have it to the set level that we're happy with, we will just push down and hold it until the 1D at the top is solid, and then it is locked. So we don't accidentally turn it up or down on Ozuna. That way it's not too high or too low. The little button on the back right here is the M/C button that changes it from momentary to continuous. As long as you don't push and hold this button, it'll stay at momentary. That's what he needs right now. We use continuous for the beginning of training to kind of show him what the collar is in a fun, positive way with a really low level. Now that he understands what our expectations are, we use it to correct unwanted behavior. So we have this, it's fitted really well right now. The collar needs to be snug, allowing only 2 fingers to fit underneath. That way the contacts make good connection with Ozuna's skin so he can consistently feel the collar. And we have this little bungee just to make it easy to put on and take off. So that is it as far as the features go. These are rechargeable. The charging port is under here. And on the back, this is waterproof. It reaches up to a ½ mile. Ozuna can wear it swimming. You can use it while he's in the water. One thing is, while I'm turning this off, if he does get wet with the collar on, you want to make sure that after you're done with him, with training and everything, you want to put him up and take the collar off and let his skin and fur dry thoroughly before putting the remote collar back on. It is waterproof, but if moisture gets in under there, it'll create a bacteria which could lead to a skin infection. So you just want to make sure you keep the area clean and dry when you're putting on the remote. We have the original strap that the collar came with. It's just a belt buckle style. I just find that this bungee is a little bit more giving and easier to put on. Then we have his charger that'll charge both the collar and the remote at the same time. We have this little tool here to tighten the prongs on the collar. You shouldn't need it, but it's here in case you do. These are extender prongs if he had long hair, but he has short hair. And then under here we have the instruction manual if you want to go over any of the buttons in greater detail. This does have a 2-year full warranty, so what you need to do is send an email right here letting them know that you bought it so that you can get the 2-year warranty. So if anything breaks, you can call them and have it replaced, no problem. So that is pretty much it on the remote collar functions. Just make sure you have fun with Ozuna. Definitely reward. This is a balanced way of life for him. So we're going to encourage good behaviors with treats, praise, and petting, and then we're going to discourage unwanted behaviors with the remote collar and or the prong collar. That way he can stay consistent and we have a well-behaved dog. So have fun and stay consistent.